Hello. I want to share an old-time story with you. This is the story of Blodeuwedd. Blodeuwedd is sometimes called a goddess and sometimes a fairy princess, but the actual deal with Blodeuwedd is that she's a hybrid. Blodeuwedd was made of flowers and plants by some magicians so that she could be the wife to the magician's son. The son's name is Lugh. So Blodeuwedd is the Welsh word for flower face, and she is unusually beautiful. And she marries Lugh, as she's supposed to do, and they live in their kingdom. And Lugh likes Blodeuwedd just fine, but Lugh likes to hunt and fish and be with his friends, probably more than he should, because he neglects Blodeuwedd. And one day, some traveling fellows come through the territory, and Blodeuwedd sees this one young man, and she thinks, well, he's mighty fine, and she invites him to come to the castle and have a meal with her. Well, one thing leads to another, and so pretty soon Blodeuwedd and the young man are more than just casual acquaintances, and they begin to plot how to get rid of Lugh. So he and she talk about it for some length, and she keeps telling him, there's something about Lugh. He has an enchantment on him, and he can't be killed except under very particular circumstance. And the boyfriend says, well, what circumstance? And Blodeuwedd says, I don't know, but I'm going to try and find out. So finally, Lugh comes home, and she says to him, I've been worried sick the whole time you were gone. I'm just afraid you're going to be out there hunting and something's going to happen and you'll be hurt. And I just worry myself sick. And he says, well, honey, don't worry. You can't kill me. You know that. And she says, well, I thought there were some conditions under which you could be killed. And he said, yeah, but they're so obscure that'll just never happen. And she said, well, what are they? Just tell me so I can be reassured. And he says, well, I have to put my glasses on to get this right. He says, the only way you can kill me is with a special spear that has been fashioned on Sunday when the Mass is happening. It can only do this on Sunday when they're saying Mass over there at the church. And you can only work on this spear during the day, during Sunday. It takes a year to make this spear, so you have to work on this thing for one solid year, but only on Sundays and only during Mass time. So he says, I cannot be slain within a house, nor without. I cannot be slain on horseback, nor on foot. Oh, my dear, she says, well, how then could you be slain? And he says, well, I'm going to tell you. First of all, you have to make a bath for me by the side of the river. And then by putting a roof over the cauldron and thatch it tightly, and then bring a buck to the side and tie him up there by the cauldron. And then I'll place one foot on the buck's back and another on the edge of the cauldron, and whoever should strike me with that spear they've been making for the past year, but only on Sunday and only during Mass time, well, that would do it. Oh, my word, she says. You're absolutely right. No one could do that. Who could possibly do that? And so life goes on. And the couple, Blodeuwedd and her boyfriend, begin to work on the spear, but only on Sunday, and they mark it out for a full year. And Lugh continues to go hunting and fishing with his friends and never suspects a single thing. So the day comes, and it is a special day. I don't have it written down here, but this is all really about, some commentators say this is about the killing of the sun or the end of summer. Lugh means sun or light. So Blodeuwedd is supposed to be the person that kills summer. So we're moving out of one solstice or equinox into the next. And so that's what the holiday is all about. So Blodeuwedd and the boyfriend get it all set up with all the cauldron and get the buck and tie him to a tree, and he's hiding. The boyfriend picks out a good place to hide so that when he throws that spear, it will just be perfect. And here comes Lou. And she says, honey, I put this all together. I just don't see how this will work at all. I just don't see how it's going to work. And he says, well, all right, let me show you. So he gets himself in the right position, and bam, there comes the spear. And of course, he just falls over, and they think he's dead. So they go back to the castle, and they proceed to have their life together. Well, because this is all about transforming and transitions, and because these are fairy folk, or they're at least some kind of folk other than the ones that we understand now. So they're less material than we are. Lou transforms with his wound into an eagle, and he flies up into a tree way high up, and he's bleeding. The spear is left on the ground, the tub, and all of the scene of the crime remains the same, but the victim of the crime goes into a tree in the form of an eagle. Well, all goes on, just, nobody goes to the castle, and so Blodeuwedd and her boyfriend and the handmaidens and so on, they're just having a fine time at the castle. Well, Lou's father, the magician that made Blodeuwedd in the first place, he begins to think, I haven't seen Lou in a while. Nobody's coming by and bringing me any, deer or whatever they've been hunting, and I'm just going to go check on him. I'm kind of worried about him. So he goes and he can't find Lou anywhere, and he's beginning to get really kind of nervous. And so he starts asking all the peasants and farmers and so in the area if they've seen Lou. And one man says, well, I haven't seen Lou, but I do want to tell you about my pigs. And he says these pigs get out every day and they go to exactly the same place and they root around, and when they come home they have some kind of funny stuff on their nose. And he says, what do you mean funny stuff? Well, he says, I think it looks like blood. Oh, says the king, well, let's go follow the pigs tomorrow. So the next day at dawn they follow the pigs, and sure enough they go right to this tree and they root around, and it is blood. And the king says, let me see these pigs. Let me see what they're looking at. And he goes and approaches the tree, and he happens to look up and he sees the wounded eagle, and he sees that the blood is coming from the wounded eagle. And he begins to sing this song. And the magical song lures the eagle from the top branches of the tree into the king's arms, where he becomes Lou again. And so the king takes him home and nurses him back to health. And in the process of regaining his strength, he tells the king about Blodeuwedd and the boyfriend. And so the king says, well, we're going to take care of that. And he gets his knights together, and they all go to the castle, and Blodeuwedd knows they're coming because she can feel the tremble in the earth. And she tells the boyfriend, hey, there's big trouble coming. Maybe you should leave. And the boyfriend says, where would I go? They'll just come find me. And sure enough, here they are. They're right there, and they apprehend the boyfriend. And Blodeuwedd has 9 handmaidens, and they run out the back door and to the nearest pond. And the handmaidens run into the pond, but the king the magician catches Blodeuwedd before she can get in the water. And he says, not so fast, lovey. I've got a plan for you. You want to run away? No chance. I'm putting a spell on you that will cause you to roam the earth forever and ever and ever without a friend, without an ally, alone. And to assure that you are always alone, I will make you snowy white, but you will never see the light of day. And so she became a snowy white owl. And to this day, she flies only at night, hunts only at night, and is befriended by none. And that's the story of Blodeuwedd. I hope you enjoyed it.